Timing relationships in astrology is one of the biggest questions people have. Questions like, is love coming? Or will this relationship last? Are we just going through a rough patch? Or is this something bigger? Astrology can actually give us some markers for love and relationships in the transits, the perfections, as well as the time lords. So today I'm going to be walking you through some of the key planetary transits and timing techniques that can signal relationship shifts. Whether that's meeting someone new, or just deepening an already connection that you have, or just helping you go through a challenging period. If you are new here, I specialize in Hellenistic astrology with a focus on child astrology as well as parent and child connection. But today we're only focusing on relationships. So grab your chart, grab a cup of coffee, and let's break this down. Hellenistic astrology, love is largely tied to Venus, Mars, as well as the lot of Eros. Venus naturally rules love, attraction, harmony, as well as pleasure. When Venus is activated in your transits or time lords, then relationships can take center stage. Mars governs desire, passion, and conflict. It can indicate attraction, chemistry, or tension within the relationship. When a planet transits or activates the lot of Eros, then we might see some major relationship shifts occur. Now, we also look at the 7th house ruler, since the ruler of the 7th house represents committed relationships or partners. So if you're looking for long-term love, you're going to want to pay attention to transits to the ruler of the 7th house. So one great timing technique that I like to use is called annual perfections. Each year of your life activates a different house, meaning that the ruler of that house becomes your time lord. So for love, the key perfections to watch for would be the 7th house perfection years. So that's your partnerships, your marriage, or just serious relationships. The 5th house perfection years, which is about dating or just romance in general, flings, as well as children. 1st house perfection years, which is a personal transformation, which can often bring shifts or just changes within the relationship. In the 10th house, perfection year can indicate a public relationship or milestone within the relationship, or an engagement or weddings. So if you are in a 7th house year, then your ruler of the 7th house is your time lord, meaning that its transits can shape your relationships. Now let's talk about transits, because even if you are in a love-focused perfection year, you're still going to need those transits to activate that energy. So some of the biggest relationship transits to watch for are going to be 1, Venus transits. So Venus transiting key points of your chart can bring in love, connection, and harmony. So you're going to want to look for Venus conjunct, trine, or sextile your natal Venus or descendant. So some favorable times for romance can be when Venus is conjunct either your sun, your moon, or your ascendant. With that Venusian energy, it's like you're radiating that attraction. Another one to look at would be Venus transiting the 5th or 7th house. So there we might see some opportunities for love to increase. So a Venus retrograde by transit in the chart can be very interesting too. It often can bring back old flings or old romantic relationships, or it could just force you to reevaluate what it is that you truly want in a relationship. Now, it is a little bit different if you natally have Venus retrograde. At least in my experience, I have seen that when Venus does go retrograde, it tends to be like really positive, at least in my experience. I loved it. Number 2 is Mars transits. So with Mars transits, it can be a little bit trickier because Mars brings passion, but then it can also bring in that tension. So for example, if we had the Mars coming in and conjuncting Venus, sparks can fly, but it can either be with passion or with tension. Now, Mars transiting the 5th or 7th house, we can see an increase in sexual energy, but then also the potential for arguments or disagreements. So transiting Mars square or oppose Venus can bring in passion, but also volatile connections. So if you are seeing a strong Mars transit, then you want to be mindful of the impulsiveness, because sometimes passion is great, but it can just be sometimes just a temporary spark or a temporary fling. Number 3 would be Jupiter transits. So Jupiter is the greater benefic, and when it touches those love-related points in your charts, we can see those Jupiterian energies expand there when it comes to growth, commitment, or just bringing in joy into those relationships. So Jupiter conjunct your 7th house ruler or even the descendant could signal a time where you might find a new love or even engagement, and in some cases, marriage. When Jupiter transits the 5th house, we can see an expansion here of those 5th house topics of just dating, having fun, and just really enjoying each other. Now, when Jupiter is trining Venus, there can be a period of harmony and love. And bonus if you have this in your synastry with a partner. And I've already made a video on synastry, and you can check out that video here. Now, if you are looking for a serious long-term relationship, then Jupiter transiting the 7th house or the 7th house ruler is one of the biggest indicators of meeting someone serious. Now, I know that Saturn gets a bad reputation in astrology overall and as well as love, but it's not always something negative. So if we're dealing with a Saturn conjunct or square the Venus, then we can see some test in the relationship. So this could bring breakups, or it could also bring in deeper commitment to each other. So this is a make or break. Saturn transiting the 7th can indicate a serious relationship forming or a serious relationship ending. If transiting Saturn is sextile or trine, your 7th house ruler, then here we see a relationship that is built on stability as well as maturity. So if you are going through a tough Saturn transit, you just want to remember that Saturn is a type of reality check. If something isn't aligned to work in the long run, it's going to break under that Saturnian weight. However, if that relationship is strong, Saturn will cement it. Number 5 is going to be the outer planet transit. So that's Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So if transiting Uranus is square, conjunct, or opposed natal Venus, then sudden, unexpected changes in relationships can occur. When transiting Neptune conjuncts the natal Venus, you want to be careful of romanticizing a relationship, or there's just this type of like illusion when it comes to Neptune. So just be careful of deception. There could also be a potential for creativity in the relationship. So just be watchful and make sure that you're balancing that energy. So transiting Pluto, either oppose or square the Venus, can bring intense transformational relationships and also sometimes obsessive relationships. So if any of these outer planets are transiting your 7th house ruler, your Venus, or descendant, then expect big changes in your love life, because these outer planets aren't just casual transits, they do move slower. So with these, something is evolving in a deep way. Okay, so how do we put this all together in your chart? Here's a simple method. Number 1 would be to check your current perfection year. Which house is being activated? Number 2, you want to find the ruler of that house. This is going to be the time lord for that year. Number 3, track transits to your 7th house, the ruler of the 7th, Venus, as well as the lot of arrows. 4 would be to look at major transits from Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto. Step 5, if you're seeing multiple activations at once, then that's when love events are most likely to occur. The best times for relationships to happen is when your perfections, your time lords, and transits are all aligning in your chart. So if you are waiting on love, check your chart and see what's coming. So this is just some of the techniques that I use when I'm timing relationships or just working with clients in general with relationships. So if any of this information has helped you out, please let me know down in the comment section below. Also, let me know, are you in a 7th house year? Do you have a big Venus or Jupiter transit coming up? I would love to know. And if you would like some daily astrology insights, behind the scenes, as well as lives, then follow me on Instagram. Plus, if you are a parent and want to know how astrology can help you connect with your child, check out my child astrology playlist. Plus, be on the lookout for Patreon for exclusive content on parenting with astrology, and that will be coming soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.